All right, people, you know that sound is the Unfiltered band. It means it's another episode of Unfiltered. This one is live and in color. It is the State of the Mets edition right here at Unfiltered. Thank you, Unfiltered band. If you're not already following along with the show, put an episode out, episode 52, with my guy Cliff Floyd, telling some fun stories. That one is available here, as well as on my YouTube channel, which you can get in the bio if you're watching here on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, get on Twitter at Casey Stern and follow Unfiltered. I've got my dude Mark Feinsand today. We'll be talking about the JoJo Tani MVP race and much, much more coming up this afternoon. I wanted to do this live because there's a lot to discuss when it comes to the Mets. And I want to start with one of my favorite sports movies, the movie Miracle. In the movie Miracle, there's a scene where Mike Eruzione is outside the bus, and they think that, I can't remember who the dude was right now, but they think that, this player that Herb coached in college was going to come back to the team. And Mike Eruzione says, "You want me to say I'm scared of getting cut? We're all scared of getting cut. You want me to tell you I'm scared the Mets are getting cut? Yeah, we're all scared the Mets are getting cut. Because we've been cut and bled for our whole lives." When you go through being a Met fan for life, there's really no even PTSD, which is what it kind of reminds you of, because it's so continuous that there's no post-traumatic. It's CTSD, constant traumatic stress disorder. If you're a Met fan, you got CTSD. Sure, I got it. I've been afflicted with it for decades. But I'm not an idiot. And many Met fans are. I want to go through some of this with you today. Let's start with Max Scherzer. Of course, I'm concerned that he's on the IL. I think everybody else is. Would you rather him not know his body? Is there anybody else you'd rather trust? Go back to a couple of years ago when this guy's in the World Series and everyone's like his arm is going to fall off and that he's dealing to help close out a series. Think about how he's been his whole career. There's nobody in the league. Look, even Jake, nobody. No one in this era. It's like him and Verlander in terms of like the trust of like these guys and their track record knowing their bodies. This dude knows. And if he's not ready to go, he's not ready to go. You want him to push so you can go ahead and, go shout at some Braves fans you don't like that you're in first place in the middle of September? Or you want him to be ready in 2 weeks where you've got a 99.999% chance of getting to the playoffs and what a 10.5 game lead in the wild card. And you want him and DeGrom to be in some order back-to-back, which is your shot to win the whole thing. Some Met fans have gotten so concerned about what Braves fans are thinking that I don't blame the Braves fans for making fun of you. Because you're more concerned about winning the division to talk shit to them than you are about winning the division because you think it's better for you than winning the wild card in terms of getting to the World Series and winning it. And a lot of you are lying to yourselves if you don't think that's what you've done, because that's who you are. I'm watching you. I see it. I'd make fun of you too. Doesn't matter who the hell, what guy walks up to a trumpet. Are you trying to win the World Series? Or are you trying to win an argument with Braves Twitter? Grow up. Get a grip. Max Scherzer and Jacob DeGrom need to be healthy for this team to win the World Series. No guarantee they're going to do it. Of course not. But I can almost guarantee you that if they're not healthy, they're not. You can put that in ink, put that in your pipe and smoke it. You need them both healthy. I don't care if you got a bubble wrap Scherzer for the rest of the month, and I know a lot of you don't want to hear that. I don't care if it means, well, we're going to push Max and then we're going to take a chance, or they lose the division by 3 games and I got Scherzer and DeGrom game 1 and 2. You take Scherzer and DeGrom game 1 and 2. So would every Braves fan and every fan of every team. because that's your shot. That is your meal ticket. That is your chance to win. That's how you beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3 with an offense that hasn't scored in seemingly a month. There is concern because Max is hurt. There's concern because we don't know what's going on with Marte, and I love Buck to death, but, who knows behind the scenes, like we're waiting for the final images. I don't know what that means. Do you? None of us know what that means. But the two things that are concerning that have happened in the last week have nothing to do with losing to the Nationals or the Pirates. They have to do with the injury to Marte and Scherzer. And if you don't get that, then get the hell out. Grow up. You want to go yell at some people who have 78 followers who root for the Braves? Look, I live in Atlanta. I hate to tell you, I know a lot of smart Braves fans who don't act like that. And I'm a Met fan my whole life. I know a lot of Met fans who don't act like that. In both fan bases, in every damn fan base, there are a bunch of asses. Stop listening to them. And a lot of them aren't even fans of this team. And that's why, I rarely write stuff down, especially when I'm, ranting. But I wanted to, make sure that over the last couple of days, the things that, annoyed me, I put down. I didn't do this in a top 10 list. We have some of those you can get on Unfiltered. Please check into, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere, and get in my bio and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you see there's plenty of top 10 lists, including top 10 most underrated Mets of all time, which I did with Brian Wright, Mets historian and author, just a couple weeks ago or a week ago. I've seen the actual television channel that covers this team. The website, I saw cross on my Twitter, Buck's managing too much for tomorrow. Really? Because you literally were drooling over Buck like he was on Cinemax 4 days ago. You got people who are Met fans. Actually look, a couple thousand people who might follow them for somewhere. I don't know, we're into a ditch based on this. But you got people talking about, Alonso's clueless. Yeah, right now it looks like he's clueless at the plate. Did you think he was clueless when he... Really? I'd hate you if I saw that. What are you, crazy? Taijuan Walker's performance yesterday was gutless, somebody wrote. You got fans laughing at their own team. Of course you should be mad that they lost these games to these two crappy teams. Of course you should be mad that they can't score right now. Yeah, you should be mad that they didn't beef up the bullpen enough at the deadline. Sure, I was surprised by that. I admit it, yeah. I didn't think Darren Ruff was the 8th inning that they needed, considering he pitched better than anybody else they got. But you love Vogelbach, Vogie this, Vogie that. Now Vogie sucks. We need a new DH. Call up. I don't know what Vientos is going to do, people. I got no idea what he's going to do. But instead of looking for saviors from somewhere else, from somebody who hasn't been on the team, why don't you just look at the team that has a mark that was higher in terms of games over 500 than any team you've rooted for since 1988 and root for them instead and grow the F up. Grow up. They need to get Guillorme back healthy and on the team and in the field. They need Scherzer to only be out for 1 or 2 starts and to be Max and be as great as he's been, because he's been great. They need Marte to be healthy because he is hugely important to the team. They need Alonso to start hitting again. But the idea of some of the crap that has gone out there, you don't deserve any joy. It's why you have none. And I guarantee you, most of you idiots who act like that have none in your life. You're just miserable freaking people who have nothing else to do. Go away. We don't want you. We don't want you in the family. Get the hell out. Seriously. You're an embarrassment. You think you make jokes, you are the joke. The most important part of this, when you're a Met fan and you grow up and I've been a fan of this team 40 years. Look, my favorite is oh yeah, no, he not a diehard fan because that he would be, what am I do? Start punching myself in the head? Oh, then I'm a real fan. No, you're an ass then. Grow up. You think I'm scared of getting cut? Yeah, I'm scared of getting cut. We're all scared of getting cut. But then, you know what else he says in that scene, Mike Ruzioni there? And I'm a BU guy, so it's fitting. We're a family. That's how you treated this team all year, this team that saved you, the culture of, and it's all real, that Buck and Max and Canna and Star and all these guys brought. This isn't the team with Rojas. This isn't the team in 07. I covered the team in 07. By the way, it was a really darn good team. That collapse saw everything going wrong from September 12th with a lead of 7 all the way down to the end. They blow the wild card, you could give me collapse. But I got news for you don't want to hear, and the actual news that should concern you more than any of the ridiculous crap you actually are yelling at. The Braves right now are better than you. That should concern you. That concerns me. But it's not a collapse. That team has gone like, what, 70 and 20 something? Or something ridiculous like that in the last 90 games? They played the best baseball in the league, and they're the defending champs. And they brought 2 kids up you don't have. They're not, it's not a collapse. They caught you. There's a difference. Now, it doesn't mean you don't feel crappy. Doesn't mean you're like, how do we not beat the Pirates in the Nationals? But guess what? The Dodgers are going 110 games. They're going to lose 52. About 15 to 20 of those are going to be clunkers. You're going to think, how the hell? You know what? You can't do it at the wrong time. And that is what you get concerned about if you're a Met fan. That's what you can get upset about if you're a Met fan. Then it's at the wrong time that you could lose to the Nationals that way on June 10th, but you can't do it now. That's all real. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying sit there and pretend. But at some point, you got to get out of your own head and realize that 29 other teams' fan bases are laughing at you like you're a bunch of morons because your team is 35 games over 500. They're going to waltz into at least a wild card, and if Scherzer is healthy, have the best 1-2 by a good margin. Forget about just in the league, but one of the best 1-2s we've seen. And one of those 2 was on a 2 with Strasburg that basically wiped out everybody alone. They beat the Dodgers in 5 games, including Game 5 on the road, where 1 started, 1 pitched in relief, won 4 games on the road in the World Series to go beat an Astros team that was better than they were. You got to pitch. He's got to be healthy. That's real concern. It's not a collapse. What are you, a moron? And my favorite part of this fickle, ridiculous fan base that I'm a part of, it's like, you beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3. You couldn't shut your mouths about how unbelievable it was that you beat the Dodgers. And it was. Dodgers are a great team, right? It was great. But then a week later, you lose these 3 games. Now, I'm not saying don't be pissed off. I'm pissed off. They're pissed off. Trust me, they care enough that it's not like, oh, a Met fan on Twitter is mad at me. So if I'm Pete Alonso, now I'm really going to get in the cage and work hard. Like, what are you, an idiot? The point is that you can't tell me a week ago that they're the best team in baseball because they beat the Dodgers, and now it's a collapse. Grow up. They lost 3 shitty games they shouldn't have lost. Playing like garbage, haven't hit. And that happens to a lot of teams in a long season where, by the way, say what you want about the division, and both teams know it's important, but both the Mets and the Braves know they're in the playoffs, and even that takes a little bit away about the way the manager manages a team, the way the players treat their own bodies. Everyone's thinking long haul because you're in the damn hall. You're not fighting to get in. You're getting in. Yeah, we all look at it and we know it's easier if they're not going to play an extra 3 games. You think a player is going to sit there and say, well, I got to play 3 extra games after 162, then I can't win? Then you ain't worth shit anyway. They're in already. You have to look towards tomorrow. Whoever wrote that article should go delete it. Sorry. You're all nuts. They may get swept in this doubleheader today and continue to play like garbage and now be upset about Max, and they're human beings, right? Max is on the IL, and now they're worried about that, and now maybe it goes the other way. They start gripping the bat too tight, which is what I'd said the Yankees were doing for weeks, right? It's the idea that, like, they're not trying enough. It's not that they're not trying enough. They're trying too hard. They may lose both. And then I can't wait for the tweets. Oh, this aged well. You know what? You aged like shit. Grow up. Seriously. Get a grip. Wake up. Welcome to the real world where if you forget about Yeah, I'm covering baseball 20 years. If you're a baseball fan, no difference between me and you. Haven't you learned long enough how long this season is? In 2006, the season that, I mean, many of us, like you go back in, yeah, but by the way, which I discussed with Cliff, my former broadcast partner, longtime friend, in our episode, in episode 52, which you can get now everywhere you get your podcasts and on the YouTube channel that's in my bio, including us telling stories about playing basketball when we lived together for a month and dropping on our butyrol inhalers under the net. I think you'll enjoy that story. So enjoy that. But we talk about 2006. 2006, this season, no Met fan even wants to remember existed. Like, oh my God, it was so painful. It was terrible, right? Does anybody remember who they lost to in that series? The National League Central in 2006 had one team above 500, the Cardinals, who won 83 games, I think it was, maybe 84. The rest of the team was under 500. That division was garbage. They barely got in because of the division that they played in was the reason. They weren't that good. They had no high aspirations. They were underdogs in every series, including against the Tigers, and they won them all and won the World Series. What's the point of this? Not to make you feel bad, give you the CTSD, because you can't have the P. You got the C if you're a Met fan, consistent traumatic stress disorder. But it's to remind you that that team and that fan base, weren't even any good all year. But you played great for 3-4 weeks, and that is what baseball is. It's why the 2010 Phillies, Cody Ross and Javier Lopez, the lefty, sent them home. It's why the Nationals with Strasburg were going to be there every year, and then they weren't there every damn year. It's why last year, living here in Atlanta at this time, nobody thought the Braves were getting to the World Series, and they won the damn thing when a year before they were up 3-1 and blew that lead to the Dodgers when they thought they were going to win, and they didn't win shit. Wake up. I say this all the time. I'm a fan of the Knicks, and my God, is that painful. I'm a fan of the Islanders, and my gosh, has that been painful over the years. But I've said the same thing for years on air, and I'll continue to say the same thing. And if you don't like it, go and follow me. Really, like, honestly, it's not going to ruin my day. This fan base, loyal, passionate, crazy, driven, heartfelt, family. I've been in that building. I was the last one standing on the field. I've told this story many times on the air, but it was Ed Randall and I were the last two people on the field when they closed the lights for the last time at Shea. I just stood there and waited. I wanted to be there. That I love this team, okay? But the worst of this fan base is worse than any fan base in the entirety of the four major sports. All of them. The worst of this fan base is 100 times worse than the worst of the Yankee fans, and every other member of my family are Yankee fans. Don't be proud of that. Don't even give these people time of day. Laugh at them like I do. I don't know if they're going to sweep the doubleheader today, split it, lose it, go 2 games down to the Braves. I know this. It's a tie game right now with 26 games to go, and that's where you're at, and that team's played better not only than you, don't feel bad, than everybody, and they won the whole thing last year. Yeah, you got to give them credit. They deserve it. They deserve it. But what every other Met team would have done that you think in like that, and it's not everyone, right? But outside of like what? Yeah, okay, 69, 73, 86, 88 till Oral showed up. It's like even that team, they 11-1, 12-1 against the Dodgers during the regular season. Oh, I remember. Oh, we're going to wax the Dodgers. How'd that work out? It's only about what happens when you're in October, and this team's going to October. Things you should be concerned about are the health of Scherzer, the health of Marte, and getting these guys to see the ball better and start hitting again and be ready to go win in October. I'm not saying give up the division or don't try and win it. But if you think you're collapsing, you're not paying attention. And the only people who are telling you you're collapsing are doing it because they're making fun of you because you literally got the CTSD and they know you're going to go crazy like you're George Costanza in Seinfeld. Except he worked for the Yankees. I'm busting, Jerry. I'm busting. I don't want to hear about Buck isn't managing the team right or this guy doesn't care. They don't care. They didn't care. Oh, it looks so bad in the Nationals. They didn't show up. They didn't show up? How about they're freaking exhausted from the series that they did everything you wanted them to do? And by the way, almost came back and swept the Braves in the one game they lost, right? Then they had, and they didn't play as well. They lost 4 out of 5. Then they had the 5-game series with the Braves. They had the 3-game series with the Trumpets and everything else against the Dodgers. And yeah, they're human beings in a long season. They're probably freaking exhausted. Well, they're not mentally prepared. Buck's not doing a good job. The same Buck that, again, was on Cinemax, the same Buck that in the 80s you were watching like through Scribble, like it was on some pay-per-view through Playboy. That Buck you were loving on, grow the hell up. Seriously, wake up. Honestly, had enough of this shit. Enough. Root for the team, hope they're healthy, realize what they've given you, realize, go back scrolling your own Twitters of all the things that you've said and realize how dumb you look. Why, I'm dumb because I'm rational? I'm not as big a fan because I'm not a lunatic? Trust me, I'm a lunatic with the team. I am. Be watching every pitch of this game in the middle of the afternoon during the week against the Pirates in Pittsburgh, being like, who are these guys? And, oh, there's O'Neill Cruz. Yeah, right there with you. Bassett's been brilliant every start for how long, right? Every Met fan drooling, gives up 5 runs. You're going to say he doesn't care, not ready for the big moment? Wake the hell up and stop being morons. That's the state of the Mets. The team's going to the postseason. Be worried and concerned about their health. Be worried and concerned that they play well going in. Sure, try and win the division, but it's not a collapse. Be more concerned the Braves are better than you and everybody else right now because of the way they played. Even Braves fans I know down here know they're poking fun. They know the Mets aren't collapsing. The team's like 70-20 over its last 90 games. That's catching. You want to look at a collapse? Go to the other side of New York and watch what it's been like. Now, I don't think that'll close out. By the way, I'll discuss that among other things with Mark Feinsand this afternoon, which you can get on everywhere you get your podcasts and on my YouTube channel. This is Unfiltered. This is how we roll. For those of you who have not joined the pod, I talk about life, mental health, sports. We've got great conversations. And you know why? Because at the end of the day, like being a Met fan my whole life, I'm so sick of hearing and seeing the way other people do things. People are fake. People are full of shit. It's time to wake up. It's time to be unfiltered. And I will see you soon. Out.